So for the first thing on this list that I don't like about the game is the beginning tutorial in here. I feel like it's just way too long. You have like 20-30 minutes of tutorial. It felt like, at least playing the game. So at the beginning area here, you have Dawn going through here and telling you exactly what to do, how to throw a Pokeball and stuff, as well as just telling you the difference between like the 3 different types of Pokemon, the ones that will attack you, the ones that will run away, and the ones that pretty much don't do anything. I feel like this kind of like tutorial could have been done in less of an intrusive way instead of just directly telling us. We probably could have just learned that through the gameplay. And I understand it is a Pokemon game, you know, they're known for having like long tutorials, but I feel like this beginning of the game was extremely excessive. Like, it wasn't just a tutorial. Like, this whole first area just felt like it was a mix of cutscenes and tutorials just to get you to understand the game, which I don't really feel like was needed. And it just made the beginning of the game feel really slow and dragged out. So that's kind of my first complaint of this game. Like, starting it feels really slow and you don't really feel like you're doing much, at least in the beginning, until maybe the second or third area where they let you go like explore without being told what to do, and you don't really have you really have a break of cutscenes, which to me was like a big breath of fresh air after this first whole area, which is full of cutscenes and explanations about the whole thing. One of my next problems with the game is going to be the space-time rifts. So for some of these Pokemon in your Pokedex, you have to actually catch them, specifically in these space-time rifts. The problem is you have no way of controlling them. They are completely random. And that element of randomization makes it a lot harder when you're looking for a specific Pokemon, such as I was. I was personally looking for the Rowlet line as well as the Oshawott line a lot of the time. So I was trying to find, like, you know, I was trying to find them and I was getting them, but this would be after sitting around for 30 minutes in the Coronet Highlands. I would sit around for 30 minutes. I would get one space-time rift, and that space-time rift would... twice it had the evolved form of what I was looking for, so I had to wait specifically for the baby version of that Pokemon just to get that in the Pokédex, which is where my problem comes in. You have to wait there, and pretty much it's random. So you have to sit there and wait for 20-30 minutes. It could be even longer. I waited a long time. And you only have 10 minutes for anything. But the problem is, like, the little baby Pokemon, or like specifically the ones that you might really need, the rare ones, only spawn at the beginning and not throughout the whole thing, which makes it a lot harder to get any of these specific ones that you're looking for, which is one of the problems I have. Specifically, just how long it takes to wait. Like, I just feel like it's boring for me to sit there and wait for like almost an hour at some points just to get this single Pokemon, which I understand. Yeah, you could go do other things, but like, I was to the point in the game where I could not go do those things. I did not, like, specifically could not go do those things because I just already completed it. I didn't want to finish out all the Pokedex entries, such as like doing like the 10 big battle style hits. I just wanted to complete the Pokedex and get to Arceus. But the problem is the fact that you cannot control these rifts makes it extremely difficult and just so boring to sit around and do nothing if you've already done everything in that region or part of the map already. So that's one of the other big criticisms I have of this game. Another thing that I don't really like about this game is the lagging issue that I have found throughout every part of the game. So it was really bad in these snowy areas. I'm pretty sure that's just due to the amount of things going on the screen. But like, even like not in the snowy areas, I have a few examples here of just like, even in the main like town area, like these Pokemon are barely loaded in. Like, if they're loaded in, they should not be going at like 3 frames a second, in my opinion. I mean, even some of these are like glitching like through the entire screen, and that's kind of where I have an issue. Like, if that Pokemon is loaded in, to me it shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I understand, like, it's kind of not the strongest console in the world, but like, to me it kind of ruins like any immersion I have at this game when I see like this Pokemon coming at me at like 2 frames a second. And sometimes it even happens when they're pretty close to you. It's not just like, oh, they're pretty far. No, these things are within like eyesight. Like you could almost throw a Pokeball at them and you're still going to like catch them lagging and just like not glitching, but like really low frame rate across the screen. And that's just kind of one issue I really have with this game. I preferred they would not be loaded in at all than be loaded in and doing something like that. The next issue I have with these games is the fact that the regional variants to me just aren't very good. Like, okay, so let's take, for example, Alola. A lot of those were really cool and unique forms. So like Grimer and Muck, those were really good forms to me. Marowak was really unique and pretty competitively viable. And I don't worry just about competitive viableness. I like the designs as well. So like even like Vulpix, or we have Sandslash as well. Those ones are really good. Galar had some really interesting ones, such as Corsola. Zigzagoon was pretty cool. And then you also have like Darmanitan. And then you have the Hasui region. Like, I just don't like any of these forms except maybe Zora. Yeah. That's probably the only one. And it's Evolve form, Zoroark. The other one's just like Samurott, not much of a change. Sneasel, I don't like that at all. And its Evolve form is not much better. And then you also have Quillfish, which why does it have like a spike in the middle of its forehead? And some of you may say Typhlosion. I don't really like that either. People were making fun of it even before they saw like the fire around its neck. But even at that, I just don't like any of these forms. Like, to me, they just don't make sense, or like design wise either. But yeah, that's a personal thing though, so take that with a grain of salt. But that's just another thing I don't really like about this game. None of the variations really speak out to me like, oh, this one's really cool, except maybe one of them. But yeah, that's probably another thing. That's definitely one thing I don't like about this game. All right, boys, and for the last thing that I don't really enjoy about this game on this lovely list, the ending. The ending is not very conclusive in my mind. So small spoilers here if you don't want to know what goes on at the end, which you probably should if you've been playing the game. So at the end of the game, once you finish the Pokédex, you go up to Arceus and you fight him. You do the whole same thing that you've been doing with the frenzied Pokemon. You'll throw like these bombs at him, and it's a whole boss fight. It's really fun. Very good boss fight. But by the end of it, you're kind of just like, nothing happens after that. So Arceus kind of just like is like, okay, you beat me. Have me as a Pokemon. To me, it's like, okay, what do I do with this? Because at that point, your adventure is over. You've caught every Pokemon in the game. Definitely you could go finish like getting all the research levels. I just don't see a point to that. I really don't. You've caught all the Pokemon. You did what you were supposed to. You could also get more levels for the Explorer Court, but I mean, I've seen what happens when people get level 10. You don't get anything special when you get level 10. So like at the end of the game, you get your Arceus. That's what you've been going for. And then it's like, go explore the Hasui region with me. But there's literally nothing to do after that. Like, granted, yeah, there is a post game. There's a lot of post game. There's a lot of side missions. But at that point, like, you got Arceus. Like, to me, that's what you've been doing. But like, there's no story wrap up at that point. You're just kind of left there with like your grand prize of what you've been working for, but nothing to do with it because you've already done everything at that point. You know what I mean? And it's not like Arceus is this big prize. It's not like the strongest Pokemon. And even if it was, it's like you can't do anything with it. There's nothing to go for with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there to exist, in my opinion. So that's kind of the last thing that I didn't really like about the game and beating it.